You cannot afford to miss a single moment of the next hour. Get ready to have your ideas about sexuality, love, and relationships blown wide open. It's time to get educated, entertained, and enlightened, as well as sexually empowered. You have now tuned into the Tantra Love, Sex, and Intimacy Show. Now, here's your host, Tanya Diamond.
He does that to me. Oh my God, they do that to me every time, and that's great. You know, there's nothing better than starting the show laughing. I used to always start the show saying, "Hello, I'm excited," but you know, you guys already know that.
Yeah, we do our best. What can we laugh about right now?
we were busy doing some parody. Is that what you would call that? A parody of this this guy who calls himself the he might be listening. Oh my God, the erotic rock star.
Ooh,
and he does these funny, like, you know, hand gesture things.
Kind of like a hand jive thing in his greeting. I have to give him kudos, though.
What's that?
I did look at some of his YouTube stuff.
Yeah.
And going through a few of them, one of them in particular, he did have some good explanation.
Did he?
Of, you know, how the guys can work on their Kegel muscles.
Thumb up?
I'm going to give him a thumb up for that specific YouTube video that I saw.
Okay. Because, you know, they do call me the, you know, rock star evangelist of the Tantra world. You know,
I like that.
I know. That was pretty cool when somebody said that.
The rock star evangelist of the Tantra world.
Yeah, it's kind of a nice little moniker. But enough about me.
So that means we'll talk about me now?
No, enough about you, too. No. We should talk about something interesting. Thank you. I mean, I just have to go to some gratitude. I know, because even more, just boom, boom, boom. We've got, like, people all over the world. Mm-hmm. All over the world. I mean, India, China, Japan, Malaysia, Brazil, emailing me saying, "My God, your radio show changed my life." I mean,
I love that. I love that.
How cool is that?
I want to go to Brazil.
So people from Brazil just know that. You know, and we are available to travel the country and go do workshops in
anyone
your
who
town.
Wants to work with us to set up a workshop in their locale.
Yep.
We are enthusiastic to bring it wherever it's needed.
Because you know why? Team Tantra?
We go there.
That's one of our taglines. As well as today, we Max came up with Team Tantra. It's our job to be sexy.
Oh yeah.
And any job like that, you gotta like. So we're here, Josh and Tanya and Billy over there. Who without Billy we wouldn't have this show. So he's a rock star too. And we don't have a guest today. And people always ask me, what are you going to talk about? And, usually I have no clue until on my drive here. And I like to come. We're live in the radio station.
Absolutely. We're talking right now.
Right, because we love that. Makes us feel cool. The headphones and
I get to tell people, I can't talk right now. I'm on my way to the radio station.
I know. God, it's like, what is it with people and their rock star fantasy things? I was a rock star, so I mean, I'm still trying to live that.
Okay.
So I got the thrash rock star hair going again. Yeah, I'm wearing my Sasquatch pants today, though. Not sexy. No, I know. Well, it's on a radio show, so we can do that. That's okay. I don't always have to be glamorous. I drove a race car last week, though.
You did.
I got invited by a client to come up to Canada. He's a race car driver. Mm-hmm. And I got to drive 2 race cars.
Nice.
Now,
you didn't bring me.
Hey, no. I know. How cool is that? So, of course, I went up. I realized there are people that wouldn't go. I mean, there are people that would be invited to go drive a race car and would say, "Oh,
thanks, I'm good.
I can't." Yeah. I was so over that. I mean, drove all the way up there, drove around, It was a lot of driving all day long.
Yeah,
From 9 in the morning.
That's like driving to an amusement park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To wait in line. No.
You didn't have to.
That's right. The race car. Okay, so here's the deal.
Tell me about it.
All right. Race cars are super cool.
Yeah.
All right. But they didn't have a thing like this as like check your butt here. Because your butt actually needs to fit in through the window. Like when you get on the plane, check your bag. It should be check your butt here.
Otherwise, you can't put it under the seat, over the seat, or
and
in the seat.
It should be the same for butts in the plane.
Oh,
okay,
sorry.
Check your butt here. So the first car is a little car. Mm-hmm. It's called a Hornet, which is these little teeny guys that you're just driving second gear. They're like Hondas and stuff like that.
Right.
Anyway, so we cram me in there, and literally it is. And so I don't have a fire suit. I got to borrow somebody's fire suit.
Sure.
And my legs are too big for the fire suit, but I get it on, and it's got to stay open. I can't zip it.
Right.
You know how too tight pants, you can't really bend your legs much?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm standing on this crate trying to bend my leg, which I can't, to get into the window. But you got to go feet first into the window. So I say, Dan, can you shove my leg in? So he kind of shoves my leg in. And then you just,
there's a bruise.
I know, oh my God, you should see my butt. And so I'm holding, I'll show you.
You did say that on air.
I did say that on air.
Just as a witness, everybody.
Grabbing the thing, throwing my legs in there first, and then you drop and slide in, and the seats are hard, and there's metal everywhere, and like slam, bam, and then it's like, because they're custom seats.
Everything gets quiet all of a sudden.
No, and they're super tight,
right.
And you're crammed on in there, and then I can't get to the pedals, and oh my God, I'm claustrophobic, so I'm like freaking out. I can't drive this car, and I can't get out. I mean, now you got to get out. The getting in's the easy part because you drop.
Get the jaws of life.
I know. I'm like, oh my God, somebody save me. So I mean, okay, anyway, I got out of the car, and then I got to go drive somebody else's car, which was this huge guy.
Mm-hmm.
He said, oh, you can drive my car. Well, I dropped in on there, and my fingers barely touched the steering wheel.
Not
and
quite
it went dry.
long enough.
I went racing like that.
Right.
Hey,
there are plenty of people on the roads today that can barely touch or see over the steering wheel. So
he's like, you can't. I said, I can barely touch the brake. He goes, you won't need the brake. Just go. Okay, fine. That's great. So that was fun, and that was cool. And that car's a little scary. Then I got to drive Dan's big deal car, number 77.
Big deal, number 77.
I mean, like, this thing.
What was it?
Oh, my God. I have no idea. It's all beat up on the outside, but apparently has the best technical, technician, mechanically adapted to supercharged car.
Nice.
Got into that. That was super snug. I mean, all the way to the legs, and I'm yelling, Dan, I can't reach the crotch. So he's got his head down there. He's got his hand between my legs trying to pull up the crotch belt.
He's got his head down there, hand between your legs.
It was tantric.
The description itself.
So the fire suit that doesn't fit, and the helmet, and all this stuff, and oh my God, the car was awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, my butt looks, oh my God, it's hammered. It's black. I mean, they're literally black and purple, and yeah.
Beautiful.
Wow. Yeah. It
all
was
the
intense.
colors of the rainbow.
Yeah, it is. That is. And there's some that don't have colors. There's bumps.
Sorry.
So that part wasn't so fun. But
Epsom salt soak.
Team Tantra, we go there.
We go there, even if we don't fit very well.
Right, exactly. So if you're going to go drive a race car, there's some things you should know about that. But Dan was super nice. He spent his day bringing the cars there and taking me there and then taking me back. Thank you, Dan. You are the man for sure. Dan
rock.
The man. He does rock. So, all right, let's go on to some Tantra stuff. That was Tantric, though. What I was going to say is there was actually a client that flew from Nelson, Canada to Vancouver, rented a car, and drove out to the racetrack just to stand and talk to me for 30 minutes while I was between driving race cars.
Wow.
I know.
I like that.
Yeah. He was a very cool guy.
That's a guy who's committed to his relationship and learning process.
Yes, he's committed to the ejaculation mastery process.
Excellent.
He's decided that that's the way to go. Okay, relationships. I want to talk about relationships.
What about relationships do you want to talk about?
Well, so here's the deal. We all want them. Even those people that say they don't really want them, if they don't really want a relationship at all,
that's because they've had failed experiences and they don't want to get their hopes up.
Bad role models, whatever.
Yep.
Okay. So what we're really committed to, that seems kind of weird though, is we're really committed to romance. Relationship and romance in the relationship. But, we can get really caught into some really interesting things when we do that.
Really?
Like, what do you believe? Do you believe in soulmates?
Oh, the soulmate.
Yeah, the one.
The one.
The soulmate, the one and only. Is there a one and only?
Wow.
Tough. I mean, I have had a lot of relationships. So therefore, I've had a lot of times where I've said, I'm in love and this is so great and, you're wanting this to be everything and you just, you open up your whole poet soul and you do all that stuff. And I've even been married, and till death do us part.
Right.
Neither one of us are dead.
I have an issue with that death to us part thing, but that's a little bit later.
Right. Neither one of us are dead, but we are apart.
Well, yeah.
Right. How many times do you say that? I mean, at some point, you've been married a few times, because there's a bunch of people out there that have been married a few times. At least two now. Do you say that every time? I mean, because when do you stop believing that?
Yeah, that gets to be a long resume. I mean, there are some cultures, there are some belief systems where you don't say till death do us part. You say so long as it is the will of
Allah.
God, Allah, Creator, Baha'u'llah, what have you.
All right. As long as, well, that's an easy out. Then.
I don't think Allah.
No.
But in the Baha'i faith, there is in the marriage ceremony to be recognized by your Baha'i community. You have to have it in there that says, we will remain committed to this marriage so long as it's the will of Baha'i.
And so if the community says you guys got to go, you got to go?
If the relationship's a challenge, you've gone through the consultation and counseling process and the steps of learning and resolution, and between yourselves and your elders, it's not going to work, then, and you've learned what you have to learn in that experience, then the relationship is moved on from.
Yeah. Well, I think we get really confused, and I think we get confused because of the fairy tales and the media. In the fairy tales,
Fairy tales are pretty intense. You're supposed
the prince
to find...
rode by, and there she was dead in the casket, and he's like instantly in love.
Right.
I mean,
you've been riding for a long time, pretty good looking, and even without a shower for how many years was that? 10,000 years? Or
how many years she'd been laying around in a casket?
She's looking pretty darn good in stasis. All I have to do is kiss her, and she'll be like, "Phew," and I'm the first guy there. Yeah, I want to be first in line.
Right. Okay. And then
that wasn't the point of the question,
and then she wakes up, and of course he's handsome, and so she's all bedazzled and in love, and that's that.
Well, she's in that just waking up.
That's right.
Days.
They wander off into the sunset and everything's great. But there's so many like that, and the kids read it and we see the movies like that. And
we expect it to just happen.
Yeah.
And none of these movies actually teach anyone about what to do to make up from the first argument.
Well, there's that, and what to do when that first romance bubble bursts. And you know what I mean by that, right? Okay, so you get in the relationship, and let's say it's lust. Usually
every beginning of every relationship
is going to be a lot of physical,
tasty, yummy
attraction, right? Thing, right? Okay, so you got that going, and then you realize, wow, this person's totally cool because you're vibing off each other.
Yeah.
So then you go into the love space, which is, as I believe, a self state. Love is a self state. It's really. Have you noticed though? Because have you been in love a few times? Do you notice the love feels the same? Your personal love feels the same.
It's a very similar state each time.
Right. So it's your personal state.
Yes.
I mean, that's what people, it's not like that person, that love, you can feel differently, but the love feeling.
The love feeling is you're recreating that each person.
Right. So, and, so you're, in the love space and you're passing love back and forth, and it must be what? How do we judge? Is it the one? By the intensity, by the breathlessness. I mean, what all of a sudden? I mean, the criteria people use are really interesting.
Yeah, I check to see how she smells.
Yeah, well, there you go. She smells. She must be the one. There we go. Nice.
That's a tough call because you can have all kinds of emotional, spiritual experiences that make that person feel so right, and feeling like you've known each other before. Oh, let's go, a step deeper.
Well, but I mean, even if you had, doesn't mean.
It doesn't mean that they're the soulmate.
It's going to be good this time.
Yeah.
Maybe they're messy this time.
Maybe it was a mess last time. He said, look, back off. Maybe next time we'll catch up.
Right, exactly. Now we've caught up.
You got some stuff to work on.
We still feel the same.
Right.
I mean, I believe that love is not the reason to have a relationship.
Really?
I know. It's crazy, isn't it?
I don't love you. Let's get together and do something.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we're not in love. Let's hang out. I think, there's a lot of countries that have arranged marriages. And those actually work out a lot better than what we do.
Some of them.
Statistically, they're working out better.
Really?
Yeah. And that's because the people are in it. They know they're going to be in it forever. And they've been picked on other criteria. So, the same social class.
Okay.
That type of thing. The same, so there's more commonalities in the mundane and not so in the romance.
Okay.
So we tend to put the romance and all the illusion and all the desire and the fantasy expectation as a high priority. Right? And lust.
Yes.
Okay, those are the high priorities especially in the United States, where we think of things like whether or not we have the same neatness component, whether we have the same goals in life. These things,
we rarely get to those questions.
Yeah, right. But I have people that are married that haven't even asked each other, how many kids do you want?
Oh.
And how are we going to divide the money?
That could be...
Right.
Yeah.
One of my clients decided to buy her daughter and her daughter's fiance a package session with me.
Oh.
Before marriage.
How many sessions?
Like 4.
Nice.
Say, like, hey, we're going to get together and talk about all the things that you should talk about before getting married.
Absolutely. And that's going to be a bit more in depth than just having, getting together for a couple months in consultation with your rabbi or your priest or,
No, because
we go there.
Yeah, we go there.
We're going to go to the difficult questions. We're going to.
Right. Because I have this couples weekend, we're leaving tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
On the float plane, heading over to the Sunshine Coast for the couples sacred intimacy weekend. And, in that weekend, I've got couples that have just getting together, couples that are, have been together for a while, all sorts of different things. I got a couple flying in from Florida, and
kudos to them.
Yeah, I know. There's putting your relationship as a priority, right? Florida to the Sunshine Coast, and there are questions that I'm going to ask and help people answer at this workshop.
Yeah,
that people have never even thought of.
Yeah,
and I'm always so stunned
at how long they've been together.
Yeah, it's kind of breathtaking, really. So okay. So then the question would be for people like myself who've been in many relationships,
right.
How to not be, how do you judge? How do you not be jaded? How do you bring freshness to each relationship?
How to bring freshness to each relationship?
When, I've been in love. I've been in love a lot. I have no problem with being in love. It used to be that people like me were frivolous. Now we're considered cool, right? Because love is the answer to everything.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm okay with love because I believe love is a self-state.
Yes.
So I don't believe that love is just reserved for the one or the only.
Okay.
I love my child. I love you. I love my team members. I love Josh.
You
and, I love people. This is okay. This is not like, it's the intent you have behind it that makes it different. So my love for my one, is the same as my love for my child, except there's a different intent. It's called sex. I don't have sex with my child.
It's pure companionship,
right.
And it's who you're going to team up with and build a life and a lifestyle. You're going to support each other emotionally, spiritually, financially. You're teaming up to be the archetype, if you will, the mother and father of a family. Well,
so the love thing, not as important as what? What do you think the biggest thing that I put as the top in a relationship would be?
Aside from that, they'd be really sexy?
Yeah, well, they got to be ultra sexy. But.
Right, okay. Well, compatibility and values.
Right, respect.
Respect.
Do you know how many people are with somebody they're not respecting very much?
Yeah.
That's tough. How about liking somebody?
Like is important. You can really differentiate. Some people think like is sort of the foothills to love.
Right.
But in actuality, they're two different mountain ranges in and of themselves.
Yeah, well put, Josh.
Thank you.
That was nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, I totally believe that. There is like, and you need to like somebody, and you can like somebody and not love them, but if you love somebody without liking them, that's a little tough.
You can even like someone and love them, but they may not be
the right person for you.
Match.
I know.
Yeah.
Wow. That's just shocking for a lot of people.
Yeah, and we're so caught up in love, lust. We're so caught up in fantasy and finding the soulmate concept that when we're horny, we think we're looking for the one, when in actuality, we're lonely and horny.
Well, we're looking for the one, but not for
We're looking for the one right now.
Right, the one. You are the one.
But we get caught up in if it's really good, if we really feel energetically.
Are you talking personally here, Joshua?
Absolutely. I'm always talking personally.
Lay it on the line for us, Josh.
I have numerous times found myself in a relationship where the intimacy, the connection, the openness, and what that woman's giving me in her heart, mind, and body is so what I feel like I've longed for.
Yeah.
And realize I was in lust and I was in embrace with that person before even arriving at the conversation.
Yeah.
Who are you?
Yeah.
How do you keep your room? Do you know how to drive standard? I mean, really, do you know how to drive standard?
So these things that are important.
Yeah, I want to know. Do you start the car in second gear? That is a deal breaker.
There are some interesting deal breakers.
Okay, let me back up here. I'm on the wrong track. To not even ask, get into those questions.
Right.
How many kids do you want? Do you want to have kids?
Well, yeah, and there's a big deal.
Yeah, here's what I'm enthusiastic about in life and where I would like to go. And here are my hurdles that I perceive.
So is there the one? What do you think about soulmates?
Well, where does that concept come from in the first place? We have fairy tales. We have some say that in utero, in the womb, there's actually always a twin developing with us, and that at a certain period in time, the twin gets reabsorbed. And so there's only one that's born. And so when we're born, we always have that feeling of a deep connection with someone that we never got to meet.
Interesting.
And so
maybe it's the fact that we're all connected. And what we're really looking for
the soulmate is that connection
spiritual
with spirit
practice. Well, yeah, I mean, if we're all connected, right? And we're looking for that connection because we're not living in a space that allows us to feel the connection to others, then we're looking for a one.
Well, there's a whole thing that many of our spiritual religious communities foster the concept of we being separate from God.
Right. So maybe what we're looking for is union with God, the divine, the universe, and we're settling for a physical counterpart to fill up a void of spirituality.
It's the closest thing that brings us to feeling in our body, mind, and heart and soul.
To feeling alive.
Ecstasy.
Yeah.
To oneness and connectedness.
So what would it be like if you had your own personal one? I mean, you were the one to yourself. You were the beloved, and you were filled up in that space in your spiritual practice of breath work and experiencing the mundane as extraordinary. And then you were just able to share that with somebody that was compatible in
someone else
ways.
Who was doing their breath work and working to sustain their own self-love.
Because otherwise we are just trying to fill voids.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll do my breath work. You find me that one.
You find you the other one that's doing the breath work?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the whole there. But I mean, what about that concept? What about that concept that if we actually were already filled up, that we would understand the one has always been there, and then we wouldn't have such a romantic desperation for that person that was going to fill that void? I mean, I believe that relationships should be an 80 to 90% enhancement of your life, and that an actual relationship with the right kind of person, not the right one, the right kind of person, is easy. Now that's counter to what we're told about relationships taking
supposed to be difficult,
hard, take sacrifice, they take a lot of hard work, all these things. I believe that's bunk. I believe that if you're in a relationship that's that hard and takes that much work, the relationship isn't any good. Now, let me tell you something. I'm not talking about the issues in relationships.
Okay.
Because the issues in relationships do take work.
Yes.
But the relationship itself, I mean, being with the person should not be difficult.
Absolutely. I agree. I agree with you there.
But this is this is not what we're thinking.
That's assuming people can communicate.
Guys call the woman the ball and chain, the old lady, blah, blah, blah. These things, women roll their eyes. They talk about their men and they roll their eyes. Oh, my man. I'm rolling my eyes here on the radio.
People don't like it when I'm in earshot of those conversations, because I'll look at them and say, if she's a ball and chain, why are you with her?
Yeah, exactly.
Why are you with her?
Yeah.
Cut the chain and go find somebody who doesn't feel like a ball and chain.
Right.
Well.
Because they're lazy.
And if women roll their eyes when they talk about their men, I'm like, why are you with them? Why don't you find a guy that makes your eyes light up instead of roll?
Right. Well, a lot of people are pretty lazy or scared. I'm sorry, guys. I know I'm out there, women, men, people, guys.
Yeah.
Sorry, people. I'm talking your language here. Apathy is keeping us in relationships that maybe we shouldn't be in. Fear and apathy, and that don't want to be alone. So, what's the first place? So, okay, so what I guess I'm saying is I don't believe in a single soulmate.
The soulmate, because the dilemma is, what happens if it ends up not working with your soulmate?
Well, that happens all the time.
Then there's no more. Stop looking.
Right, I know.
You found the one, it didn't work.
And now what? You're done. So, like I said, and I'll say, I've been in a lot of relationships.
How many of them were your soulmate?
A lot of them. No, my soulmates, no, sorry. How many were my soulmates? Well, you know what? Here's the deal. When I enter a relationship, I go for it. I don't hold back. And so I've been enthusiastic. I've been romantic. I've been all of those, excited things, jump full force into the relationship. And then once I'm in the relationship, I desperately want that relationship to work.
Desperately want it to work.
Yeah, think about that. Yeah, I use those words consciously.
Right.
Desperately want it to work, so therefore start to work on the relationship. Right. Wow. Right?
Right.
Okay. So how many have been soulmates? Well,
And we could technically say they've all been soulmates because we're all one.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so there we go. We've all been soulmates.
Right.
But what
just not the right soulmate.
Right, that's right, but not the right soulmate. What I've come to find out is they've all been certainly lessons.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they've all been patterns.
Right. Whose patterns?
Mine.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know. So I'm going to cop to these things.
Yeah,
I'm going to own them,
no,
right?
I commend you.
I mean, you know, I don't want to mess around here. I have had, you know, epic, you know, love.
Epic love.
I know. Yeah. And great, amazing, lust.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, these huge romantic encounters, you know, that are like, oh my God, you'd see them in a movie type of thing. The music in the background.
Right.
And, you know, tragedy and all of this. I mean, I've been through it all. And people ask me, well, you know, what makes you so good a relationship expert when you haven't been in a 10-year relationship? Because I've been through every single type of relationship there can be, and everything of breakup that there can be.
Right.
I've done bad things. They've done bad things. Well, I pretty well tell you what doesn't work. I can tell you what doesn't work.
Right.
But I have to tell you that when you meet somebody who is in personal alignment with you, let's start using that phrase. Personal alignment. When you meet somebody that's in personal alignment with you, meaning that maybe they line up with you physically and emotionally and spiritually, right? Intellectually, personal alignment, I think, is what people need to be looking for. Now,
tell me more about personal alignment.
Personal alignment is about meeting somebody. You know, you're doing your work. So in other words, you're on your journey of doing your work, which means you're learning as a person to fill up on yourself, to not be in a desperation sense. And you meet somebody that lines up with you intellectually, lines up with you emotionally, meaning that they are, you know, in a maturity factor in the same range. They're doing their personal work spiritually. They're doing on their spiritual journey, which is none of these things have to be the same, but they have to be in alignment. Somebody asked me once, when I was with the father of my child, you know, can you be in a relationship, me, Tanya Diamond, who I am with this, you know, growth junkie mentality, going for the, you know, never in the contentment, going for the top, with somebody that's happy sitting watching TV? You know, and now I wanted to say yes, because I can do my thing and my partner can do their thing. Right.
It's like having different jobs.
People do, right, yeah, you got different jobs, right? But I'm here to tell you, probably not.
No, you have to. What are you into? I mean, those questions. Are you content sitting in front of the TV how many days of the week?
Right. And when he said to me once, why is it that you can't just be happy hanging out here? Why is it you're always having to go quest for something? You're always curious. You're always looking for something. You know, when are you ever just going to sit here with me and be happy?
Well, if you didn't like watching TV and he was watching junk TV.
Right. Well, you know, his idea, and here's the sad part. I mean, he was telling me what he was happy doing was doing his job, coming home, you know, doing the dinner, doing the child thing, you know, right? And then he was happy to just kick back in separate recliners. That's even worse. Separate recliners and watch TV till he was tired. Right. That doesn't work for me.
Right. I mean, even if there's something, you know, I mean, go and work in the shop, go exercise.
Well, I don't know. Everybody's got a different thing. Now, there are people that want to do that.
Right.
There are people that really, really want to do that.
I know
that's home really hard for us.
At the end of the day and just watch TV. I mean, I've done that at times. You know, if it's something fun to watch together.
I do that if I'm depressed.
Enjoy.
Right. Well, no, there's things to watch. Yeah. But I mean, as a rule, there are people that want to do that. There are people
every day.
There are, and they should find each other.
Right.
Right. I mean, if that's the bonding that they have, then they should find each other.
Wow.
All right. So, do you think that's an important thing to know in a relationship?
It's an important thing to know.
Right.
I mean, I can think of other things to do than watch the TV.
Right. So, if you're in personal alignment with somebody, if I could, I'd love to do this, and I would love to have two people that were not in love, that we criteriaed out to be in personal alignment, and bring them together, and I will show you how to create love between those people. Because I believe that if you're in personal alignment, love is going to happen. Okay? You have to have some chemistry. There's got to be the physical chemistry there. But even that isn't going to be as important as being in that physical
alignment. Chemistry, I mean, that's a matter of so many different factors. That's chemicals.
Well, straight out procreation chemistry, I mean, opposite immune system, you can't do anything about.
Is a critical thing, but there's so much more to that, and you can teach somebody.
Right. But you don't have to have it that hard line. You just have to have physical attraction. So if, if there's the 0 scale in the middle, so we got a line in the middle of neutral, and, 0 is no attraction, and 100 is super attraction, and we're at 50, 50 is enough.
Yeah,
50 is enough to take two people
if
and
they
teach
have compatibility.
them intimacy skills. Yeah. And if they're in personal alignment, that relationship will rock better than somebody that's got 100%.
Absolutely. The respect, the appreciation, the interest in common beliefs and pursuits, and the ability to understand each other.
Right. Well, and then education, which is what we provide, right? I mean, the whole point is you can be considered with your soulmate, and if you don't have relationship skills, you got a couple of years, and things are going to start with that, and then things are going to start.
There has to be key communication skills. There has to be communication styles that they agree on to have. Right. Otherwise, enjoy the arguments.
Right. And how about things like, hey, well, how often do people want to have sex together?
Critical.
I mean, people don't think that's such a
relationship game.
We do. We should start the Tantra relationship game. Actually, there's a guy that has a game out there, but I don't, and it's based on Tantra, but I don't think it's about this. But the compatibility relationship game, certainly, we need something to help. So personal alignment. In personal alignment, I'm liking that concept. We're going to take a short break here and come back and talk more about the whole soulmate relationship, all this. Josh is taking notes.
I'm taking notes.
Notes. He's ready to roll. We'll be back in just a moment.
Are you one of the 40 million sexless couples in the U.S.? Are you wondering why having sex leaves you feeling lonely? Are you suffering from the myths of sexual dysfunction? Do you know in your heart that there has to be more than what you're currently getting out of making love? To rid yourself of sexual ignorance, get more out of your lovemaking, and find out more about spiritual sexual connection, then you need to check out www.thetantrateacher.com to receive your free copy of the ebook called Secrets of the Tantra Teacher. Don't suffer another minute without the sexual loving and ecstatic bliss you were born to receive. Get to www.thetantrateacher.com right now. That's www.thetantrateacher.com.
Did you know that you can rate this show on iTunes? The show you're listening to right now. It's true. You can leave your thoughts about the show, the topic, the guest. You can even leave a suggestion. Then before you leave, rate the show. The hosts love hearing from you, so next time you download this show from iTunes, leave your thoughts and rate the show for the host and for others.
Is your sex life non-existent? Do sexual dysfunctions leave you soft? Is internet porn getting more than you are? Or are you paying more attention to porn than your partner? Have you tried talk therapy and it got you nowhere? You are not alone. You can be freed from sexual shame, guilt, and dissatisfaction. A visit to the Tantra Teacher is in order. Call now and mention you heard the Tantra Teacher on the radio and get a very special offer. Stop waiting for a miracle and call right now. 206-276-2735. Phone consultations or in person will get you the information you need to be successful in your love life. But you have to call now. 206-276-2735. Stop making excuses. Call the Tantra Teacher. 206-276-2735.
We are back, and I am not laughing. That's how boring our break was.
No, stop that.
Everybody kept their clothes on.
We were talking about race car driving.
Everybody kept their clothes on, and my gosh, I mean, I don't know what to say about that. All right, so before we went on break, we were talking about this new concept of being in personal alignment more than being in love, being in this, being in that, being the other. Because when it comes down to it, our lives are made up of the mundane a lot more than the extraordinary. Now, in Tantra, we teach people how to take the mundane and turn it into the extraordinary. Yeah. Which is a good thing, because basically we are washing dishes, we're doing laundry, we're taking care of kids, we're working, we're doing all of these things. So we have a lot of aspects of our lives that are not romantic. And if we're waiting for romance all the time to make us feel something in our relationships, this is why things go so wrong for people.
Now, here's a thought that I'm having.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
I know. When I think
it's not just
people
about you.
worry, it's beyond me.
Okay.
If people entered relationship and contemplated the key questions that go into creating personal alignment, I think more people could find that.
Right. And then maybe you create your soulmate. Maybe you create the one.
Because so many people get into a relationship, they're attracted, we're on our best behavior. Yep. Guys don't act like idiots in the beginning.
Right.
Women aren't manipulating in the beginning.
Women do oral sex.
They give oral sex in the beginning. The guys take them places and listen to them in the beginning and pretend to value their opinion in the beginning.
Right.
And then once they're in the relationship and he knows he's going to get some from time to time and she knows she doesn't have to give it as often as he wants it, all of a sudden their real personality starts to come out and they're not interested in alignment. Not everyone.
Right. And, you know, when we use these generalizations, our generalizations, we understand that there's those of you, especially those people that are listening to us on the radio, that are far superior.
We're making humor out of some of the negative norms.
Right. Far superior if you're listening to us.
But if those people, I mean, you know, thinking about relationships being created in colleges or, you know, you just meet someone in a bar, if people dove into the concept of personal alignment, you know, they may say, hey, whoa, wait a minute. You're into what? No, I don't know.
Well, I mean, things like smoking. I mean, we take some obvious ones. Smoking, drinking, are you athletic? You know, do you like music? But we rarely go really deep.
Right.
You know, and you have to be pretty honest about yourself. Like, I mean, what happens if you check this out. Okay. Morning and night people.
Ooh, yeah.
Okay. So you get somebody together, right? You get the person that loves getting up at 5 a.m. and likes to have sex when they get up because that's when they're at their top. Everything's great. Hook up with the person that likes to sleep till 1
because they stayed up all night.
Right, and they like to have sex at night.
Right, because that's when they're.
Now, did you have an issue with that?
I had a major issue with that.
Yeah, you had. That's right. You had.
I had a long relationship that, as it turned out, she was a 5:30 a.m. person, and my adrenals shut off at 5 a.m. So I'm up and ready to roll for so many hours of the night. Wake me up at 3 a.m., wake me up at 4 a.m., but if you try to wake me up at 5 a.m., forget it, I'm a zombie. Right. And I actually, in the beginning of that relationship, at one point had to say, I don't know if I can do this every morning. Right. Now, that would imply that she was interested in me every morning. Yeah. And that had a tragic effect on the intimate relationship because she felt rejected, and I didn't even have the words to identify that I'm biologically shut off at that time of the morning. Just not there. And I can't wake up at that time of the morning. Right. And then likewise, her body shut off
in the evening
at 8 p.m.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. So if I wanted any love, any affection, any attention, let alone any sex, not going to happen.
Right. So it'd have to be between the hours of such and such and such and such.
Which we were working and going, adrenal people.
Ran it, right.
So she said to me, hey, I'll see you at 5:30. Oh, you don't wake up. Sorry.
Oh, see?
That was tragic.
Right. And so what would happen? I mean, you know, people say to me, well, Tanya, this is not romantic at all. You're going to pick people based on these type of things. You know, relationships that are smooth running because there are these compatibilities. Yeah. They're easier. Yeah. And they do have the romance and the love because you're not constantly miring around in all the guck. Now, I'm not saying these are the sole reasons, but wow. So what if you wrote down, you know, your personal inventory? I mean, okay, like, you know, I'm a night person and a medium messy, vegetarian. I value somebody that likes experiences better than material wealth.
And how about a little checkbox that says how likely are these points to change in 1 year, 5 years, 10 years?
Right. Yeah. I mean, maybe you're a person that loves change, and you get with somebody that doesn't.
Ooh.
So maybe one of the questions are something like, "Wow, you like to move houses every year, and the other person doesn't like to move at all."
Right.
This is going to be a problem.
Right. I was recently with someone who my spontaneity on certain things would drive her nuts, but then after the fact, it was really fun.
Right. Yeah.
And so you have to decide, do you want that reliability or do you want some spontaneity or a lot?
Right. Yep.
Do you want to move that often?
And I hear people all over the world groaning right now because I'm taking away their romantic bubble.
Oh.
Because they think that they're going to walk through the grocery store and boom, there the person's going to be and everything's going to be perfect. Now, that can't happen.
It can happen. I mean, whether we call it miracles, coincidence, wakan, some really cool stuff happens. And you should go through a questionnaire with that person so that you not necessarily guarantee compatibility, but you have the questions that you can ask to lay the foundation for communicating in the relationship. Because, with any of my past relationships that I've talked about just today, if there had been a foundation that I had been using to be able to open up difficult conversations, that would have been huge.
Right.
I mean,
but people, and even if we gave them that, do you know how few people would use them? Because we want that. Yeah. We want that fantasy.
I'll tell you what. If I actually used those tools, my fantasy would come true because the relationship would be easier in the hardest places.
Look at that.
And I might actually get my needs met.
Oh, no. So you mean we could actually have the fantasy instead of crave the fantasy?
Yeah.
And be an illusion about the fantasy?
Yeah. I actually had someone say to me after a breakup, when I heard you say you needed a personal assistant for your life, I thought you were joking. Now I realize you weren't joking.
Right.
And now I could take that really hurtfully. Like, no, I know I'm really disorganized.
Yeah.
I could take it hurtfully, or I could say I didn't have a chance to respond and I didn't need to from an emotional place. Right. Yeah, I need a personal assistant for my life. That's why I said it. I wasn't joking. So to have that questionnaire,
the owner's manual. What if we all had owner's manuals? And
I would love an owner's
compare
manual.
Owner's manuals or something on the third date or something like that. Okay, so we've gone on the first couple of dates and we've determined that we have enough interest to maybe to keep going beyond dating. So let's go on date number 3 or 4 and review our owner's manuals, each other's owner's manual.
Well, I don't know. Do you want the owner's manual on the first or the third date?
Well, probably the third, because I would say you kind of want to actually see if there's some
competency.
Yeah, some interest. Can they talk? I mean, you can get the questions out of the way, like do you want children? Or are you looking to get married?
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like walking through a showroom of cars, and you look on the sticker, and it says miles per gallon and the price.
Well, see, now here's the thing. Everybody's buying strategy is different.
Well, yeah.
So, and we do the same things in relationships. So it would behoove us to understand what our buying strategy actually is and our love strategy.
And that changes.
And our buying strategy stays fairly, this is how people are really great salespeople, the NLP people.
Yeah.
Now,
buying strategy in that sense.
Yeah, exactly. So, whereas so what would you do? We're going to walk into a car. So we've walked into an exotic imports and cash is no object.
Cash is no object.
Well, okay, it is a little bit of an object. All right.
Yeah.
So we have to leave it as some object, but you've got, you know that you can leave with a car.
I'm like visual digital. Okay. So first off, it has to be sexy to me.
Okay.
At the same time, it has to be reliable, functional, have a good track record.
Right, and you don't choose women like that.
Yeah, I know.
And you should.
I know.
That makes more sense.
That's why I'm in a vow of celibacy right now, so I can really review what are my strategies.
Doesn't that make more sense? Listen to that.
I don't know if that's...
Gotta be sexy.
Gotta be sexy.
What's next?
And reliable.
Reliable.
But... let me back up here for a moment. I think that has more to do with the personality alignment survey.
The personal
alignment, that really looking at, because whether it's...
I'll make somebody
compatible.
You know what?
The choices that I've made in the past.
Do you know how many of us do that, but will not actually admit it?
Yeah.
I want everybody out there that's listening right now, I want you to be brave. And at least to yourself, I want you to admit how many times you have made somebody be compatible because you were lonely or desperate or wanted to be with somebody, whatever it was.
Yeah.
How many times? Yeah. I mean, I've done that.
I mean, if the sex was incredible, but I don't know the person's real personality after a few months, or even if I have issues that pop up, I'm like, wow, that's kind of scary.
You just overlook it.
Oh yeah, how long? I think I can work around that. We call that codependency.
I think I can work around that. Yeah.
But the sex is great.
But the sex is great. Okay.
I mean, what if she's an absolute gorgeous physical being, and you like having sex with her, but what if there's no
anything else?
Anything else?
Yeah, it's like torture to listen to her speak.
Right. Or what if it's beautiful making love to that body, but that body doesn't do much in making love?
Yeah, well,
someone who's not good at sex because they've never had to be, because they've been gorgeous.
Yeah, well, I was with a man once like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really interesting because he was just kind of like, he was laying there and he was, I'm doing the hair thing right now.
Right, you're doing the hair thing, the beautiful hair thing. He's playing with his hair
and he's like, primping his hair and he's laid back and he's posing and he's like, posing and he's posing and I'm like, and he goes, what do you think? And I'm like, wow, you're really damn sexy.
Right, you gonna start that car?
I know, and I'm like, right, exactly. It's like, all right, so you want me to do all this? And he goes, well, he says, don't you just want to look at me? And I'm like,
Right.
Well, yeah, kind of.
I'm not window shopping, baby.
Right. Yeah, I know. It was actually pretty dismal. So yes, personal alignment. We're going to just keep wandering back into that because we want to create that. We need to think about what that looks like. What is trying to create a relationship? I actually did, and I've had relationships for different reasons. I'm, me, I will go there, right? So I'm going there right now. I, had a relationship, one of my first major ones, with all about romantic love, and it was just me. I was caught up in the romance of being in love. It had nothing to do. I got married to the man.
Right.
I had no clue about anything about him, about anything. It didn't really matter.
Was it a chemistry thing?
No, it was just
you wanted really love, and he was the next available victim.
Well, no, I was that young, and he was older, and it was one of those things where I just was in love with the idea of being in love and all of that. It was so the next time I was a little bit more. The next major one, it was more
you
like
were looking for your Prince Charles.
Practical. No, I was practical. Okay, that didn't work out so well.
No, the second one. I mean, the first one was looking for Prince Charming. Right, exactly. The second one was
practical.
I just want relationship.
So, it's like, let's see. So he's smart, and he's got a great job, and he's got this, and he's got this, and he's got this. And these things check those boxes because they make sense.
Right.
And he was cute, and, I could feel something.
Okay. That's a lot of compromise.
Yeah, so that one didn't work out so well because that was all about logic. And then there was the, intense procreational chemistry.
Ooh.
Oh my God, we were built to make babies.
Right.
That kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I've been there.
Will I ever find someone again that likes sex as much as me?
You know what? Oh, yeah. Ladies, Joshua likes sex a lot.
And it doesn't mean I need it all the time. It's just...
He's happy for quality versus quantity sometimes, but he wants the quantity too. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think so. I think that there are a lot of people that are out there, especially if they're working with, learning Tantra.
I guess I should say who likes intimacy.
Well, here's the deal. A lot of women out there really would like sex a whole lot more if there were men out there educated enough and women educated enough to understand why it is they're not liking it so much now.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. And that's what we're doing, right? We're eradicating sexual, spiritual ignorance. And so, education is the key. And even in this conversation where we're having now, you look and say, okay, now you're in a relationship and you're hearing me and you're going, oh my God, because I'm not in personal love. Oh my God. Don't panic.
Breathe.
Yeah, breathe. Breathe is the first key. But the other part about this is, a lot can be done with two people that really are committed. And here's the deal. You don't know you're committed until you wake up 20 years from now with each other. Then you were committed.
Right.
The rest of the time you can just talk about it. But really, get the education for your relationship. I'm sad to say that I'm the last person people usually turn to. They've been through years of couples therapy.
There's a commitment to getting really vulnerable.
I know.
I mean, some of the people that I've talked with through the weeks when I'm not on the radio, one person's really interested in what I have to share, and I say, "Great, let me talk to you and your spouse, and let's work this."
Right.
And they're like, "No, my spouse would never actually come to this conversation.
Right.
The stuff you're talking about is too real."
Right. And you know what? That is definitely sad, and it's a place where we need to start going. If you're in a relationship, it's your most valuable commodity. You need to spend the time and or resources on it to get the education to make it last a lifetime. There are so many. You cannot rely on the fact that you used to love each other. You cannot rely on the fact that, well, you're married, so you're stuck with each other. You can't rely on any of that. What you have to rely on is empowerment, healing, and education. And
this is constantly moving forward.
This is what we're providing.
Yeah.
So we can help people that don't have great chemistry, and they're trying to figure out why. I've taken couples that really are kind of tribe. They're more like brother and sister in the chemistry department.
Right.
But they really cared about each other and really were in personal alignment.
Right.
I mean, great personal alignment.
Right.
And help them develop the skills of intimacy.
Yeah, so that they no longer see each other as a brother.
They were never going to have the super sizzling passion because they don't have the right. But they can certainly have really deep intimacy. And, for people that are in personal alignment, sometimes that's what they're looking for.
Yeah.
So don't dismay. And if you're in one of those people in a sizzling, passionate relationship, but the rest of it is in chaos, we can help work some of that stuff out too. We just have to see where it is and
to see the
getting brave, brave and getting real about it.
Getting brave and committing to living the life you desire to live.
Right. Starts with your own personal work and then goes from there. So we've got 5 couples this weekend at the Sacred Sexual Intimacy up in, and 5 couples with me. And
so let's see if I can wrangle up someone.
Yeah, that's right.
Up there with you.
Yeah, Josh wants to know if anybody's available to go up to Canada in his really beautiful resort.
Right.
To the couple intimacy weekend with him on the Sunshine Coast. You can email him at joshua@learningtantra.com, and we'll see if we can get you in. He'll get you in there. He's celibate, so you don't have to worry about that.
Right, but there's
lots of learning and education to be had.
A lot of learning and education, a lot of breathing, a lot of sitting in deep embrace, eye gazing.
Now, I do these with just a few couples because I am committed to making sure that these couples completely bomb-proof their relationships.
Absolutely.
And have this amazing journey. Very excited about it. It's one of my favorite workshops to do.
This is one of the greatest gifts anyone can give themselves, their relationship.
Yep, for sure. And those, like I said, that couple flying in from Florida, all the way up to the Sunshine Coast in British Columbia, they're committed to this journey. So looking forward to coming back next week and talking all about that. And how many minutes do we have left here, Billy? We've got 2 minutes left. So hoping that you really enjoyed this conversation and really, thinking about this personal alignment, thinking about love, thinking about romance. What is it your fantasies are, and, do they keep falling short? Get the education, drop us an email, give me a call, anything like that. And, we've got the information to give you. And I am happy to say that I am in personal alignment with my partner now.
Are you?
I am. And
Excellent.
I can tell you that that's an amazing journey to be in. All right, everybody, take care. We'll talk to you next week. Thank you, Billy. Thank you, Joshua.
Thank you, Tanya.
You're doing great on the celibacy thing, by the way.
Thank you so much.
All right. We're out.
Bye-bye.
You have been listening to the Tantra Love, Sex, and Intimacy Show with your host, Tanya Diamond. Visit our website at www.tanyadiamond.com. That's TANJA for more information on workshops and classes.